everyone, I'm Lien and I'm so happy you're joining me again today on the Crafty Meraki YouTube channel. Today I have a super easy watercolor project to share with you guys that uses some fun die cutting techniques as well. I'm going to be using the birthday bouquet stamp set by Crafty Meraki, which looks like this. It's a huge floral stamp designed by Emily Midget, and I absolutely adore it. It is very intricate and it's super large, so it easily fills an A2 size card. And because it's so large and I want to be stamping over the edges, I am just taping my piece in place in my Misti. That's usually a little bit easier than doing anything else. So I am just prepping my cardstock. This is watercolor cardstock, by the way. It's Canson Mauval 200 GSM cardstock. And I am prepping that first with an anti-static powder bag because I will be doing some embossing. I am also stamping with embossing ink. This is the Versamark ink. It's really sticky. I love it. And I'm stamping a couple of times because the texture of the watercolor paper might make it a little bit harder to stamp. And once that's stamped and I'm happy with the impression I got, I can sprinkle on some white embossing powder. This is the opaque bright white super fine embossing powder by Wow, which is a great white embossing powder. And I am just sprinkling that on and then I can heat set it. I am taking my time with this. I am just making sure everything is nice and heat set because I want to do some emboss resist watercoloring, which doesn't work if your powder is still loose and not melted. So just make sure everything is nice and melted, and then you can tape your piece in place. This will prevent excessive warping of your cardstock. And this is the watercolor I'm going to be using. I'm going to use a couple of colors, but these are the Lindy's Gang Magical Shakers, and I love them. I got them for Christmas today, and I'm so excited about them. I had to share them in this video. Now I am using a dry brush just to sprinkle on some of the powder. I am using a pink here. I'll be listing all of the colors that I used in the description below. I don't know them by heart yet, but I'm using a really soft pink here, and I'm just sprinkling that on with a dry brush just where the flowers are to get a little bit of control of where the powder will go. Then I sprinkled on some more just straight out of the bottle, and I'm spritzing it with water to activate it. And what's cool about these powders is that there are so many different colors in one powder. So you can really see different specks of yellow. There is some blue in this as well. It's absolutely gorgeous. Now another thing you can do with these powders is to just paint with them. I sprinkled on some green powder there on the side of my piece, and I just activated that with water again, and then I'm just taking my brush and painting with it. I thought this green was a little bit too neon almost. It was a little bit too bright. So I tried to dull it down with this teal I got, which was also way too bright. So then I went straight for the darkest blue, which is Midnight Sky, I think. It's gorgeous. If you use this in a background, you can almost see galaxies in it. It is so, so pretty. Now I just painted that on the leaves. Then I'm taking a darker pink and sprinkling just a tiny bit on the flowers. And I'm always dabbing away my excess water because the water will pool on the cardstock, and that's not fun because your paper will warp and it takes ages to dry as well. So just dab it away with a cloth. I do think this pink was a little bit too light, so I went in for a third layer, I think. This is the third layer. And I'm brushing it first with just a wet brush to activate it and get it a little bit darker before I spritz it with water to let it flow out. And I'm drying it in between layers with my heat tool. Now for the die cutting technique, I'm going to do some Eclipse die cutting. I am first die cutting, I'm doing all my die cutting at the same time. I'm die cutting a stitch rectangle from this, but from the center, I am also die cutting that Hugs Slimline tag die from Crafty Meraki. Just the huge Hugs sentiment there. And I die cut that. I am gluing the panel on top of a white note card, and then I also die cut that hugs die 4 more times out of thick white cardstock. I'm layering all of those hugs together with Barely Art Precision Craft Glue, finishing, of course, with the patterned hugs or the painted hugs on top. And then I can just inlay that. Now there are a couple of pieces in the H and between the G and the S where there are some slivers cut out. So I just saved those and I will inlay them later. So I'm first inlaying the hugs die, the stacked hugs die, and that dimension really sets it apart without taking away any of that gorgeous painting. I am just inlaying those tiny pieces, putting glue down first, and then just poking them in with a pokey tool. Then to finish it off, I had to add a little bit of bling. This is the Periwinkle Crafty Meraki, Meraki Sparkle. It's the Meraki Sparkle Periwinkle gems, and I love them. Now, I didn't love my first placement of these, so I'm switching it around. And once I'm happy with it, I can take my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive, which is quite a bit stronger than the Barely Art Precision Craft Glue, and I can just glue those in place, and that finishes off my card. You can add a sub-sentiment to this, but I really didn't want to distract from the background. I love these paints so much. They do all the work for you. It's so much fun. Now I'm just making a quick envelope out of some patterned paper that I thought fit my card with the colors. I love that mint color that I have in the leaves a little bit. And then the few pink florals in the envelope also match my pink flowers. So I love that. This was a really quick card to make. You absolutely don't need these Lindy's Gang magical shakers. You can just do this with watercolors. If you mix a couple of colors together, drop in some colors onto wet paint, or like if you paint the roses pink and just drop in a couple drops of yellow, you can get a similar effect. It will be gorgeous as well. But these shakers just make it a little bit more easy. Now that's it, one huge stamp, one huge sentiment, and some watercoloring. Really quick card, but really, really pretty, I think. I hope you like it too. If you did, make sure to leave a thumbs up on this video and leave your thoughts in the comments below. You can also subscribe to the Crafty Meraki YouTube channel for more videos of me and from the other designers. I hope you stay tuned for more inspiration. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.